So this is a special interview with Ambassador Larisa. Canada is a partner in this important event, and I would like to ask you about your impression about the first day, how it unfolded, many issues that we discussed, and I was wondering if there are many highlights that you would like to point to, and what are you looking forward at the end of this conference?
Great. Yes, it's been a wonderful day. Thank you for inviting us to be a part of the conference. It comes at a very good time for these discussions in general. We now have a date for the UN Peacekeeping Ministerial. We're about to start the preparatory meetings going into it, and so the focus that you've taken on practical outcomes and innovative things, concrete things that can be done to improve performance is exactly right at this time. I think it's also a really good time because we can consider all the reforms that are taking place in peacekeeping, keep the momentum up on action for peacekeeping, but also seize the opportunity of reform, of change to build in better systems. So today has been great. I'm very impressed with the diversity of speakers that you have had on the various panels that have really covered the waterfront of the issue of performance. So congratulations for attracting that level of participation. Can I be biased and say lunch was my highlight?
Of course.
Thank you. I thought that the discussion about women's participation in peace operations was very interesting. Rarely do we have the opportunity on the ELSI initiative to sit with this kind of an audience. We've traveled extensively, we've talked extensively to different people, different stakeholders in this issue, and today's discussion in some ways wasn't any different, and in some ways was very different. It wasn't very different because people are very much still thinking about this. When we talk to people, they think about it from their own perspective, their own experience, their own anecdote, what they know from their own country.
And their own biases as well.
And their own biases. We all have our own biases. And how it was different, I think, though, is everyone, solid recognition that these are not excuses to not do anything. They are reasons to understand further. And so I was very gratified. I thought it was great that General Lund could be there. Also, a real and live example of what women can accomplish when you let them. Yeah, that was for me exactly what I wanted out of our participation in the conference.
Well, we're very glad that that is the outcome for you. One question I wanted to ask you: the entire idea of putting together this conference was actually out of realization that since Egypt left the non-permanent membership of the Security Council, when we were having a very broad and very comprehensive conversation about the reform of peacekeeping operation. I'm not saying that Egypt leaving has changed the dynamic, but our observation is that last year in particular, we are witnessing an attempt, I guess, to narrow the conversation and focus it primarily on the performance of peacekeepers. We thought that this might be a good idea to, re-broaden the conversation again out of the realization that the success and failure, the performance of peacekeeping missions is not only a matter of the performance of the peacekeepers, it's actually a continuum that starts with the mandating all the way to exit. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think the first two panels definitely touched on that by spelling out the complexity that missions are dealing with, existing missions and any new conflict environment and its complexity. I think you're absolutely right that we can't think about missions simply as the deployment of uniformed personnel, and that you need to start thinking about exit sooner, and exit involves transitions before you get fully out, and those transitions involve civilians. mandates that have political objectives require different kinds of assets and different kind of leveraging to move them forward, the kind that isn't necessarily present in uniformed efforts. So it is I think it is the question to ask. Did we go there enough today? I don't know, but you've got Oscar speaking tomorrow, Oscar Fernandez-Taranco, and I'm sure he will take us there. And I think that people will have been impressed, I think, from this morning also, but just the complexity of developing those mandates and what the dynamic in the Security Council now means for the development of those mandates.
So tomorrow, actually, we have 3 important sessions, one on integrated mission performance, the other one that you referred to, where we will have Oscar, but we will also have others, and then we will have the session on partnerships. And I think by putting these sessions together, we will hopefully going to come out of this conference with concrete ideas and recommendations. But on mentioning the Security Council, Canada is now running for a non-permanent seat, hopefully successfully. How would you describe Canada's not overall plans, but at least when it comes to pursuing the issue of peacekeeping reform, and what would be your priorities if successfully becoming a member of the council?
We're going to have to edit this. I can't answer that question.
Okay. All right.
I have all of that is being thought about right now, but I don't want to lead with my answer. There are other people who will lead that answer very soon.
Okay. Then, since we're going to edit this,
okay.
I will just give you an opportunity to sing our praises. So please go ahead.
Okay. It's been great working with the Cairo Center. You and I met a couple of years ago. I could tell straight away that we could do interesting things together. It's taken a little while to get here, but who you've been able to pull together for this conference, and as we've worked together to shape the agenda and to shape our participation in it, I've seen that we're very like-minded about what's important in the peacekeeping system, whether it's SEA or women's participation or this broad perspective on achieving mission objectives. So I think that the Cairo Center is lucky to have you and have someone who thinks that way, but also exists in a very important place in the broader constellation of peacekeeping assets that we have. So thank you. It's a pleasure to work with you.
No, thank you very much. And this is to thank Ambassador Larisa Galadza for her contribution, the contribution of the Government of Canada, without which I don't think this event would have been possible. So thanks again, and we look forward to a very engaging and very fruitful discussion tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.